he will not rest until he gets his revenge. Also, passion, revenge, eternity. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer. Boo, I say. Boo on this movie.
It's easily the second best one.
Oh my god.
Easily.
This was, like, I don't know how this was worse than Salvation for me.
That's because Salvation was amazing, and this movie was a mistake.
So this is episode 256 of I Hope You Suffer. I am a Jimmy Crow.
I'm Jimmy Cuervo.
I'm El Humidor.
I don't know if, like, the cast on IMDb is in, like, the order they appeared on screen, but Edward Furlong is, like, 6th on the list or something. It's like all of the bad guys, and then, it has to be the order they appear, because, like, that priest they pour gasoline on is, like, above Edward Furlong.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, I understood, like, maybe having, you know, Pestilence, War, fucking who, although that whole crew first, but then I saw the priest, and I was like, alright, this has to be in the order they appeared. We're talking about 2005's The Crow Wicked Prayer. And this has to be one of the worst acted movies I have ever seen. The dialogue is fucking insanely bad.
I am still so confused about anything Dennis Hopper was saying.
Oh my god. Okay, so I think I can answer that. Let me find the thing I was reading about it. Because again, another one of the Crow movies where the original idea sounds incredible, and then, well, it would have been probably pretty racist, but
this one is David Borealis becoming
the Joker,
the Antichrist, which I feel like is a very good idea.
Yes, except, like, his dialogue is fucking terrible, especially once he becomes, like, Lucifer or whatever. But
I was like, what is even happening here?
So, in July 2000, rapper DMX had been in discussions with producers about a fourth Crow film entitled The Crow Lazarus, about a rapper who chooses to leave the music scene for the love of a woman and is killed during a drive-by shooting. The rapper is then reincarnated as the Crow in order to take revenge on the gang responsible for his death. Production was supposed to start but never happened, and then, like, it was announced 3 years later this movie was happening. And so I have a feeling that Dennis Hopper's character is from that movie.
Yeah.
Because everything Dennis Hopper does is racist and fucking baffling.
So I kind of feel like that I would have liked that movie better, because this movie is not culturally sensitive at all.
Well, I have a feeling that one probably wouldn't have been either. But
no, absolutely not. But at least the storyline, this movie, there was so much happening, but, like, nothing at the same time. It was like, I'm not sure what I watched, to be honest with you.
It was Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I have a Crow graphic novel that I got for free at some there used to be this group that would do, like, around Halloween, a, like, 13-ish hour horror marathon, and they would do, like, raffle prizes, and if you stayed till the end and, like, no one, whatever raffle prizes they didn't give away, they'd give, like, one to each person. And so I got this, like, Crow comic book, and I don't know if it was Wicked Prayer specifically, but it was, like, it was about a Native American woman that gets, like, resurrected. And I know this one is based off a comic book called The Crow Wicked Prayer, but I didn't get a chance to see if it's the same book or not.
I have to say, I love Edward Furlong, obviously. I
He's
don't
the
feel
fucking worst
like
actor in this.
I don't feel like he was necessary for this movie, which is not normally an opinion that I
You're,
hold
you're
about
saying The
him.
Crow's not necessary for the Crow movie?
Shit, he
I
barely
think
is in this one.
I think he should not have been in this
His
at all, and I I'm just so confused. Like, I'm just really confused.
It's
his look is awful.
I mean, like, that was the thing, is like, in pictures I was like, okay, cool, they're going back to sort of the like Brandon Lee one after like whatever weird shit they were doing in Salvation. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
like, but like, I don't know, but like every line of dialogue he delivers, and then David Borealis delivers, and then whatever the fuck Dennis Hopper shows
Bizarre.
up, I was just like, this is all fucking baffling. Like, and like David Borealis, I will say, is like, he's given it his all. He's just got just
Bro, he's getting paid. That's all he wants.
he's getting shitty
He's
dialogue,
having a great time.
and he's just like, he's going with it. Edward Furlong is just like, just there, and it's just like
Yeah.
every line is just like, bro, I want to die. You don't understand.
Fucking
I
kill
want to
me,
die.
man.
I'm
Let's
just like,
go.
the fuck is happening?
I'm like, you know what? Like, if you like how we were talking about, you know, like the Connor Oberst of it all, like these movies, I'm not, when I say these movies, I mean specifically just the original Crow, is supposed to be, it's like stereotypical for like a quote unquote emo kid or like a sad whatever. He's really taking that to heart because he will not stop talking about how he wishes he was dead and that he doesn't want to be the Crow, which in some ways, like, this is not going to make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but the people who will get it. He's like the Shinji of this series, where like
Oh shit! Got
everybody
him.
where he's just like a little like sad, like doesn't want to do the job that he's been given, and he's just like, I don't want to do this or whatever. And but he kind of is like, I don't know, and he doesn't try very hard to like, and anytime he like interacts with any of the bad guys, he doesn't really seem like he wants vengeance. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's just kind of like,
He barely gets any. Like, I guess like everybody technically dies, but like,
well, and then like
the
that
one
one
dude
scene,
is killed by like the tribe or whatever that's like building the casino still.
right? I feel like he almost teams up with him at one point, because then he goes to try and like like suicide bomb or whatever, and Edward kind of like stops him from like that. But I just was like, what is happening here? Like, yeah, he just really doesn't care at all. I feel, at least, I'm gonna call him Angel. If for some reason you don't know the name David Borealis, he's Angel.
Well, it's
As Nathan said,
Borealis.
He's Angel from Bones. He at least seems to be having fun. Like, whenever he becomes Lucifer, shit goes off the rails, and I don't know what's going on with him, but he seems like he's enjoying it, and everybody else, I can't speak for Dennis Hopper. I can't really figure out what's going on
Dennis
with him.
Hopper's entire thing is so fucking baffling to me, and I was like hoping there would be some sort of trivia on like
What is
what
happening
this decision
yeah.
was, but like there was nothing.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's killing it though.
All right, let's. I'm baffled. Let's get into it. It's bad. This is probably my least favorite of them all.
This is my least favorite.
I don't necessarily dislike the premise, but it's just like wackadoodle everything that happens.
Well, like I was just reading, and it sounds like it's kind of like, it kind of seems like it follows the comic book, like more than I would assume maybe the others do, but like also kind of not really. I don't know. It's very weird. Like,
yeah,
like this, it has a lot of the same ideas where like small. It seems like they took a lot of small things from the comics and then like made big changes where there's like shit where it's like they're killed and thrown into like a refrigerator and like dumped into the fucking water or whatever, and
That just makes sense.
yeah, I mean that's how you dispose of bodies.
Yeah.
Right.
Airtight, those refrigerators.
I'm just looking at his Dennis Hopper's quotes on IMDb.
Oh, good. I didn't write a lot of them down because I'm just...
Well, wicked
Wow,
ass
what a
props
choice.
to you, Mr. OG, and thanks for representing all the homeboys.
There you go.
Kill
I
it.
want-
Shorty.
I want to make my text tone Dennis Hopper saying shorty.
Oh my god, we didn't even touch on how fucking bad Tara Reid is as an actor in this.
What a weird choice.
That's because I don't think we need to. I
Yeah.
think it is self-explanatory.
I just like I don't know if like I guess it was just because of American Pie, right? That like she became like
a thing.
a huge thing, but I don't think I've
Yeah.
seen her in anything that's like remotely good.
No.
All right,
Okay.
Danny Trejo killed it though,
Oh yeah.
and Tito Ortiz.
For some reason, I thought he was a baseball player, but
It's
he's a...
Danny Ortiz. Wait,
No, Tito Ortiz.
oh, is it?
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of?
I don't know. Tito Ortiz is the UFC fighter who has taken a lot of brain damage, and now he's like a lunatic Republican that
David
ran
Ortiz
for
is the baseball
Senate?
player I was thinking.
Oh,
of.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
David Ortiz, good.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Not
that's-
canceled.
I was like, isn't there a baseball player?
Yeah.
I for some reason thought it was him, and then I was like, he doesn't really look like a baseball player, if that means anything. But okay. So this movie starts with the credits. Boo. I never want to see a credit in my life.
And voiceover, Katie's worst nightmare.
What was the voiceover?
There's like voices of bullshit about, or maybe it was just dialogue on the screen.
There was so it opens with credits.
I gotta
over...
say, I watched this movie after 2 days of 4 hours of sleep, and I had like just got home from like a show that I had to drive like 2 hours back from. It's like 3 in the morning, and I was like, I don't know what's happening. And
and so
I watched it on a website where there were commercials every 5 minutes.
Every
it was
5
fucking
minutes.
brutal.
God damn.
Okay, it was so annoying though because like I watched it on the same website and it would play the movie and then whenever an ad would come out, it would like pop it out of widescreen and then I would have to like do it again and then it would like buffer. It was so annoying. And it was in 2 parts and I was like, why is this
I think it's a
happening?
website that you can only upload like an hour of
Yeah.
video.
We should have waited until you can upload 2 hours of video on Twitter and uploaded it there.
I think you can now, or maybe right under. Somebody under HBO Max's thing today just uploaded all 4 John Wick movies.
Wild.
What
Okay.
a website.
And just killed it.
Okay, credits over like it was like a spell book type. We find out that maybe it's some kind of like demon Bible situation, right? Then it opens on a town and there's on-screen text that's talking about how it's a polluted town on a reservation and there's like locals and miners who are mad about this like casino that's going in and it's causing all this pollution and making people sick. And so that's like the overarching story of this, but it also doesn't really make sense with like the couple that gets killed, which is Edward Furlong and his girlfriend Lily. She's a part of like the tribe and he's I don't know, his name is Jimmy Cuervo, but
it's literally Jimmy Crow in Spanish, according to IMDb.
But he's like very
apparently all 4 of these movies, like I guess like the 3 sequels at least, were just like, you know what we should do? Crow in another language as a last name.
Yeah, pretty much. And this is also maybe the only movie where they refer to Edward, like they call him the Crow. They're like, oh, there's the Crow. He's here. And I was like, oh, okay. And they steal a lot of lines from the original movie, which wasn't necessary, to be honest with you. So like the whole overarching thing is that there's 2 sides of town. One for the people who rightfully should be on the land because it's their land and they own it. And the other side is like the white people who came in and were like, we're going to build a casino. Is that okay? And they kind of like tricked them into letting them build this casino where they like drain the lake. Everything's polluted. And so everybody on like the quote unquote like the bad side or whatever is like getting poisoned, getting sick from the pollution, right? And so like Lily is a part of like the people, the locals, and then Edward, I guess, is on the other side, but like we don't ever know why.
That like
Or
they
like
pretend like they're giving you these like glimpses of backstory, but like
it doesn't make any sense.
It's nothing.
yeah,
So
I still
there.
don't know what the fuck was like other than like I guess they do kind of explain Edward for a little bit where they're just like, I don't know, he killed somebody, sort of,
So, like,
but it was self-defense, or not self-defense, but he was
Yeah.
like, it was somebody who was like, I guess, attacking a woman.
Justifiable homicide.
They just do like a really shitty job of like showing what's going on.
Well, and also it's like they make it seem like the brunt of this is this dispute over land, and that like Edward, I'm gonna call him Edward because I just did. Edward and Lily
Eddie
are
Cuervo.
Eddie Cuervo are kind of like the Romeo and Juliet, where they're both on disputing sides and they're in love and like they have to hide their love or whatever. But that has nothing to do with the story at all or why they're killed, because then there's a satanic cult, and like that's the point. That's the problem of everything. So I was like, why are we having this like land like dispute, and then also the satanic cult that has nothing to do with like any of it. I don't know, whatever.
It's like
I mean, a good director could have made all of that work.
that's the thing.
I
But
mean,
this is not a good
like-
director.
Like
This is the guy who did Tal Bachman's "She's So High" music video.
I mean, like he did Six String Samurai, and I'm so disappointed because Six String Samurai fucking rules.
He used all of his talent on Six String Samurai.
Like
He made a deal with the devil, and that was it.
It's one of those things where
Maybe
like,
that's what happened.
okay, I understand he probably got like no fucking money as a budget to make this movie, and like most of that budget seems like it went to the cast because the cast is ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
fair.
like, and it's also like it was 2003, so like none of the Native American stuff is going to be taken fucking at all.
No,
Well,
not great.
seriously at all. But like, there is like, if you like, I want to see this same script, maybe not the same script, fix some of the
No.
fucking dialogue, but you know, the same like plot
Concept.
yeah, and like give it to like the people that did like Prey or something, like somebody that like treated sort of like Native American shit somewhat seriously, and like
Yeah.
let somebody like that, like, I don't know, like it's like Danny Trejo's not Native American, is he?
right.
It's like,
No.
like there's
I
like a
was
bunch of
gonna
shit where I was
say-
like, this is like, I
Cast
don't
a
like-
single person in the ethnicity that they should be. Like, find those people. Don't just like be like, here's this random collection of
Yeah,
people.
like,
here's
One of
a
them,
bunch of Hispanic dudes that are Native American for this
Right.
film.
then like the Lily's brother, his name is Tanner, and he has like a Boston accent, and I was like, what in the fuck is going on here? Like, you can be
Yeah, he's
like,
native. He's a
yeah,
Boston
like,
native.
Yeah, literally. I'm also confused because at the bottom of the credits it says Catgirl number 1, 2, 3, and 4. When were there? Oh, never mind. Okay, those were Dennis Hopper's Catgirls. I was like, where were their Catgirls?
yeah, it was a
Okay.
Macy Gray and
Dennis
Gotta
Hopper
say
was really
Macy
spearheading
Gray.
the Catgirl revolution.
He was Macy Gray, so terrible, and I didn't even know that was her until I just looked at the credits. Terrible. Okay, jeez. All right, so there's people protesting, and the first person that we meet is Yuji Okamoto, and he drives up and flashes some devil horns at his friend, and they're like, yeah.
Hell yeah.
There's a bunch of workers who are like throwing up because they're eating the food and getting sick and throwing up, and one of the guys says, hey, you want salsa with that? And I was like, got him. So this is where we get to like meet the boys, okay? The first one up is Pestilence, which is Yuji Okamoto. He does like a spinning back kick into a barrel that sprays white stuff all over him. And that's like pretty much the extent of his martial arts, actually, I gotta say. Even though he's like in Karate Kid, but it's fine.
He's my least favorite of the Four Horsemen, just because David Borealis keeps pronouncing his name Pestilence.
Ugh, barf. Come on, Angel. He also is really interesting to me because I don't know if he's supposed to. I assume. I don't. The problem is that, like, I think that they want us to think that all of the people in the satanic group, David Borealis and him, are supposed to be part of this, like, native tribe that split off. And so it's very confusing to me in general, because then also he is trying to be a cowboy, so he's talking real southern. And I'm like, what? Anyways, we get this, like, still frame of him being like, yeah. And we get some, like, stats on them that don't really make a lot of sense because they're all different. His is occupation, toxic waste removal, diagnosis, terminal, offered apologies, mission, revenge.
Sure, why not?
Here you go. Then it still frames on the next guy who's doing double horns, who is Famine, and this is Tito Ortiz. I think I got Warren Famine mixed up a few times, but it's fine. His occupation is fry cook. His legal status is half-breed. Okay, there you go. Tribal status is rejected. Mission, also revenge. All right, they've got something in common. Then we meet War, who is Marcus Chong. His picture is black and white. Oh, he's in The Matrix.
All these people are in, like, other movies that are good.
Normal?
Yeah.
His occupation
not Tito
is...
Ortiz.
Well, no, yeah. But
He's
his
in Robot
occupation
Apocalypse.
He's in Medea, or Tyler Perry's Boo 2. And The Roast of Justin Bieber.
Perfect. I can't imagine Justin Bieber had a good time during his roast, if I know anything about him.
Why are fucking, like, UFC fights? Oh, no, this is just, like, a making of a UFC fight or some shit on here. I was like, why is there, like, a UFC fight listed on Letterboxd? But
Okay.
It's like IMDb
War's
lists the UFC things on there. I don't understand.
occupation is a mine demolition. His fatalities, it says 3 brothers. Okay. His compensation was insufficient. His mission is also revenge. So there you go. Got the 3 boys. And so this whole scene is very confusing because it's taking place at 2 separate locations, but they're interspersing them in a way that it's very hard to tell what's happening. So I'm just gonna, like, really simplify it because it doesn't really make any sense. There's a bunch of guys on the side of the street picking up litter, like inmates. It looks as if kids are throwing rocks at them, but I'm not sure. The kids could have been throwing rocks at something else. I don't know. Tara Reid has a sniper rifle for some reason, and she's up in a bell tower. She's, like, looking around with her scope, and then this is where I really heavily sighed because this is the kind of movie it was going to be at this point. We're not even 10 minutes in, maybe.
oh yeah, this is, like, literally, like, right after the opening credits.
Yeah. Some guards throw a bag over somebody's head and they start, like, struggling or whatever. Tara Reid shoots the handcuffs off of the guy. And he fights a bunch of guards. One of the guards gets, like, punched in the back of his shin, but does, like, a forward somersault 3 times or whatever. And I was like, what?
Yeah, because it was by bones.
Chong! Then the guy takes off his hood and it's Angel. And he has got some kind of crazy wig going on. I'm assuming it's a wig.
I think it's just like just for men, black hair.
He was going through a rough patch and just, like, let his hair grow out like that. And
Yeah.
just, like, didn't do anything to it for filming.
Like, I know there was a bag over his head, but it looks very crazy. It looks like crazy outside of the bag. So
oh yeah, the rest of the movie it's just like it's like he's got hair that's like that length that he can't style it, but it's like too long to really style, but it's like not long enough to do anything with. And then it's like dyed like goth fucking hairdo black.
yeah.
It looks insane on him.
So Tara blows a kiss to him, and then he stares at a church, and the other boys come and give him a gun, and this is where we see that he is named Death. and his occupation is satanic cult leader, and his motive is fathered, murdered by quote unquote an Indian. Okay. His mission is to raise hell. ... Literally.
What a film.
Killing it right
So
out the gate.
this is what we're working with so far. And
So
at
promising.
first, I was like, what does Edward Furlong have to do with any of this? And the answer is not a lot. Then they grab the pastor of the church that they're at and pour gasoline on him, and Angel holds a match to his face and is like, hee hee hee, and then he's gonna shoot him. But Tara Reid comes up and is like, haha, and they like dance and then make out on his car. There's a lot going on here.
It's fucking like, it's so stupid. Like,
yeah.
Like, there's like the more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, like there is like an okay premise here, but it's just handled so shittily. Like,
this stylized, like, everyone gets like a stat card intro. So cringe.
At the beginning, I was like, oh shit, is this gonna be like these dudes are like taking out people for this like mine, ruining their lives or some shit? And then it just turns out that like no, it's actually the Native Americans are bad for getting rid of the mine to open a casino, so we gotta take revenge on them. And I'm like, blah.
Right, and like,
go work at the fucking casino. Who cares? That seems like it's way better than a fucking mine job.
Well,
right?
They also kind of like make such a pathetic way of linking it, where there's like this one part where Angel gives a speech that's like, down with the government for making this casino, let's do it. So it's like that's their way to tie it into this like land dispute, and I was like, no.
Well, like
why do you have to be in a satanic cult to do that?
Like the one character, like Pestilence or whatever, that's like sick from working in the mine, and they show him, I'm like, okay, maybe this is gonna be like kind of cool. And then it's like, no, it's like literally plays no part into anything other than like somebody was like, what if we had a sick character we could name Pestilence?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pestilence.
No.
Got it. Pretty sure that's how it's supposed to be pronounced. Everyone else has been saying it wrong.
with a U.
I gotta look up who the people that wrote this, what other movies they did.
Okay.
Cube 2, Hypercube.
Now that's a good movie.
And Conan the Barbarian from 2011. I'm doubting that's good.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, so I can't say, but not promising.
There's two writers. One of them has this and a movie called Razor that I can't tell if ever actually came out. And then Sean Hood he did Cube 2, Halloween Resurrection.
Okay. All right.
And then like 8 or so like looks like straight to DVD movies.
Checks out.
Including a movie starring Suzanne Summers called The Darklings. Oh, Suzanne Summers, Tippi Hedren, and Martin Sheen is in this.
I was gonna say, I feel like I've heard of that.
It looks like it's like maybe a made-for-TV movie, though.
Yeah. Okay. So, Edward Furlong is passed out, surrounded by a bunch of feathers, and also there's a scorpion on his chest. So already we've got a lot going on here.
Just vibing.
He gets woken up by a sermon, but the sermon ends up actually being an ad for the casino.
Yeah, why not?
It's not great. He like captures the scorpion in a bag, then he leaves the trailer, and there's a bunch of guys outside of his trailer that are spray painting it with the word killer and calling him a murderer, and like it takes so long for us to figure out like why, like everyone just keeps calling him like a convict and a murderer and a killer or whatever, and then we finally find out why, and it's like the lamest. It's not lame, it's like the reasoning is very stupid. Like it just doesn't need to be in the movie, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Almost everybody's backstory in this movie is so like shittily discussed.
Yeah. So now we go to Lily, who is his girlfriend, and she's giving a speech about. She's basically almost word for word giving the prophecy of the crow from the first one, where she's like, sometimes, just sometimes, they come back, carry their souls, blah blah blah. If you don't know what the crow prophecy is at this point, you need to just go, because I can't say it again. Edward and Lily make out. She wants to go to something called Ravenfest, and I'm really confused by this because like the title Ravenfest is like fine, but then when they actually go, the sign says RAVE-N Fest, and I was like, what is that?
Because it's like rave in fest, like it's a rave and a fest.
So, but it's
but
just
it's a bad Raven joke.
It just I'm so confused by it. Anyways, they're gonna go. He wants to like run away together because like they're not supposed to be together because they were from different sides of the road or whatever. And she's like, no, I want people to see I'm into you. Whatever. She wants to be public. That's like the thing going on between them. Then he's like, I'm gonna get my life together because I'm not gonna run anymore. And then he swears on her perfect blue eyes.
Which she does
and I wrote,
not have.
LOL, because she doesn't have blue eyes. And it's like such a thing.
It's like one of the trivia things is like, Lily is described as being blue-eyed despite numerous times being shown with brown eyes naturally.
Like, literally. And it makes no sense. And then her brother, who I said is the sheriff, comes in and is just like, ew, gross. Like, are you crazy? Don't be kissing him in public. Edward goes back to his trailer thing and pulls out a wedding ring that he has sitting next to his bag of live scorpions. And he leaves in a suit with flowers, and he rides off on his bike. Her brother is driving down the road, cuts Edward off and makes him crash into the dirt, and then calls him white trash. And he sees the ring and he's just like, are you freaking crazy, man? And then he pulls out his gun and pretends like he's gonna like roulette shoot him, but there's no bullet. And then he's like, you're lucky. And then he says, at midnight you're free to go, but she isn't. So I'm guessing that like we don't know if he served time for the murder that he did or whatever, but I'm guessing he's like on some kind of parole where he can't leave, and then at midnight they could like run away together if they wanted to, so because he could like leave, because he's like, I spoke to your parole officer. And I was like, again, a detail we don't need to know.
I mean, like,
Stupid.
that was like the idea I gathered from it, but also again, they're just like don't
like,
explain any of it. They're just like casually mention these things that like
yeah,
or reference things that you never fucking hear or find out about.
So he goes into the store that Lily runs and is like, Lily, where are you? But instead of Lily, it's Tara Reid in a feather mask. And she's like singing or some shit.
Oh my god.
She's also wearing like crazy like Hot Topic outfit this whole time. So you can tell it's 2005. She's got a bump it for days in her hair.
It
is so tall. It is so tall. I've never seen a taller bump it in my life. And it's her bangs. It's insane. So, the cult is there. So, you know, the cult is all them boys and her. And, the long and short of this whole thing is that, they're going to sacrifice Edward and Lily. They keep talking about eyeballs. They keep like making all these comments to eyes. And then Tara Reid is like, all right, I'm going to get them. And she cuts out Lily's eyeballs. I assume we don't ever actually see her do it. We don't see her hold the eyes, but like, that's the whole thing, right? There's a flashback of a funeral, which I think is supposed to be Lily's mom. And we also see that Angel and Edward used to be friends at some point. And maybe there's some reference to the fact that maybe Angel was in love with Lily, but, you know, she didn't like him.
He, like, literally, like, when they show the little flashback that he's like, yep, go get him, or go get her, fucking whatever. Like, he, like, approves of it then. I think
Yeah,
it's literally
I
that they
don't know.
just like. I think all it comes down to, and it's like, again, not fucking explained well, is the fact that she has blue eyes. That they need blue eyes, because that's straight from the comic book. From what I read, it's like some goth kids need like these blue eyes for whatever bullshit they're doing.
Weird. Then finally they hang Lily. She's dead. Tara Reid. Oh, Tara Reid. Tara reads from a book and starts having visions, I guess. And then she like pretends maybe like she eats the eyeballs. I don't know. She just like looks up and
No,
is like,
she does like it's supposed to be a fucking satanic magic trick or whatever. That now she has the blue eyes in her head.
right. So I was gonna say she's got the eyes of a shaman now, which is what she says. So Edward tells Angel that he.
It's just so like oh well, it's just a Native American woman, so she's actually a shaman.
She's got special blue eyes.
This is the worst goddamn movie I've ever seen.
So Edward tells Angel that he's gonna kill him. He's like, "You're gonna die," and then he's like, "I don't think so," and then he hangs Edward, and then they cut out his heart, and his heart turns to ash in his hands. The number 666 appears on Angel's chest. Cool.
How you know he's
The
a Satanist?
Yeah, the ritual is complete, essentially, for this part of the ritual. Pestilence and Famine take Edward and Lily's bodies to the dump and put them in a freezer that Famine's mom used to lock him in when he was little.
Convenient.
And
Very convenient that it's somehow still there.
yeah, very weird. Then they kick it into some water and set it on fire in a dump lake, which like doesn't make a lot of sense because like how is the fire supposed to burn them? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I was like, is this just supposed to be like a bunch of gasoline? Like what? It's just this movie's bad.
It
I don't
also
know if
never
anybody's knows this yet. This movie's bad.
like they should have burned them inside the thing, and then I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. They go back to their little like base fort thingy or whatever, where they eat deviled ham, deviled eggs, and devil's food cake. Get it? Because they're Satanists. And all the food
So
is
dumb.
also dusted in peyote, so they start tripping a bunch.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
Peyote dusted deviled eggs.
Delicious. This is where Angel gives them a pep talk about how they need to bring down the casino because it's government owned and it ruined their land and it killed that guy's brothers and blah 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 blah. Then they trip a bunch. Then a crow lands on the freezer, and there's visions of Edward and Lily like by this tree where they've carved the names Jimmy and Lily, and the I in Jimmy is a cross for some reason. Then he busts out of the freezer because he's the crow, even though his heart was cut out. So that seems like I just feel like maybe he shouldn't be able to come back if he doesn't. I don't know. He is crying and freaking out a bunch, right? Because he just came back to life. They all do. It's fine. Then he sees Lily's body in the freezer, which has got to be really terrible, and he takes her to her shop and then has visions of them like making out and stuff. Then he shoots himself in the chest immediately, but he's fine obviously because he's got crow powers, and he's like upset about that. Then he goes back to his own trailer where he lives and sets it on fire. First he puts on an outfit that she made for him to wear to Ravenfest, and this is where he puts on his makeup, which is literally a Sharpie that he draws on his face with.
At least he's got makeup on as opposed to fucking Eric Mobius or whatever the fuck his name was in the last movie.
Listen.
Who's just got
scars were
somehow
cool, okay?
burn scars on just that portion of his face.
I have to say that, like, I think part of what makes me not like this Edward's crow is that, like, he looks goofy in, like, not an intimidating or scary way. He looks like he just
the way he looks, I was like, fine, whatever. They just made him look like a goth kid. But like, it's that like, cause like Brandon Lee is the same way. Like Brandon Lee's is goofy, but Brandon Lee is like a badass in the movie.
Yeah, right.
And so like it kind of works. Where Edward Furlong is just getting the shit kicked out of him the entire movie as the Crow. So he just looks like a nerdy goth kid getting beat up constantly.
And I don't know like what it is about wearing. Maybe it's just the makeup itself, but for some reason when people have the makeup, they do this like wide eye thing, and Edward Furlong is like what I would call like a sleepy boy. Like he always looks like he's falling asleep. So, but then when he puts on this makeup, his eyeballs are like popping out of his face, and I'm like, guy.
To be fair, I feel like everyone in this movie except Dennis Hopper or David Borealis all look like they're asleep. Or act like they're asleep too.
Well, and then it looks like not cool. I guess that's my problem, is that he's just not cool at all. His hair is crazy. He kind of looks like a bag lady. Like, I don't know. So
looks like he's in a very bad like Cure cover band.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Marilyn Manson cover band.
Either way.
Yeah, that too.
Maybe he does both.
Yeah.
He does 2 sets.
I feel like at least a Cure cover band still has good songs to play.
Yeah, that's fair.
So now here's, he's got his makeup on. The cops and Lily's brother, who is a cop, whatever, find her body, and they're gonna take it out. And this is when he calls and is like, tell my father we need to get together. And I was like, what is that accent going on here? Down on the res. Like, what? So he's like, tell my father that we need to get the council together because we need to talk about Edward. He thinks that he did this, right? Angel and the dudes like come in. The scene is very long for no reason, because essentially what happens is they come in and this pastor is trying to marry these 2 people, and he's just like, hey, fuck you, guy, you killed my dad, I'm gonna kill you. And like Angel ends up shooting him, and I'm confused by this scene too, because he's basically just like, well, what do we do? And he's like, don't let the woman grieve, or don't let a wife grieve or something. And then he shoots a bunch of the onlookers but doesn't shoot the wife. And so I was like, what's going on with that? I have no idea. And Tara at this point is a little concerned about the fact that they're killing so many people.
Her arc is fucking baffling.
The ending is really
She's
confusing
just constantly like, maybe we should just leave. Never mind. Let's fuck. Like, I don't.
She really is just trying to get it.
I don't know
together
what is
with
going
Angel.
on with her fucking character in this movie.
So a crow lands in a bar where Pestilence is chilling, and Edward comes in, and they have like a weird talk. This is the first movie where the person who, like the bad guy, immediately recognizes the crow. He's like, hey man, I thought we killed you. And I was like, you're smart, because nobody else ever
it's a nice
recognizes them. Yeah. And he's just like, hey man, I thought we killed you. And this is where Edward starts this thing where he's like, I wish I was dead. And I'm like, all right, chill out. I want to die. Kill me. And I'm like, all right, just chill, okay?
Yeah, we get it.
Like they end up fighting. There's like a gunfight and a fist fight. The bartender like gets in on it, and so Edward like beats him up also. Then he electrocutes Pestilence on like a bug zapper. And
I can't imagine that thing has enough electricity in it to.
I would think not.
I feel like you'd definitely get a shock, but I guess I think he snaps his neck while he's being electrocuted.
Maybe.
Because I think they show a clip at the end, and they put in like a crack sound when they like revisit it.
I'm really.
They just
I gotta say,
for the actual movie.
I was like, when they replayed it towards the end, I was like, wait, did they do this in the first one? Did I miss it? Like,
I don't think so. And I gotta say, even though it was unnecessary for them to replay him killing all of these people, I'm glad they did, because I completely missed him killing one of the guys. because like when he's at the end fighting Angel, I was like, what happened to that other guy? Like, I don't even remember him getting killed. And they reshowed it, and I was like, oh, okay, thanks. Like, they put it in for me, but I don't know. Anyways, he's dead, and there's an outline of a crow burned around him.
Wow.
In the ground.
Can't believe still doing that.
Sorry. Yeah. I do have to say, like, yeah, they reuse a lot of the same, like, even though the script in this is really bad, they use some of the same lines from the first one, where when Edward first shows up to see Pestilence, he goes, boo. And I was like,
Yeah, remember how many times Brandon Lee's character was just like, I want to die.
Fucking kill me. I'm the motherfucking fairy godfather.
Like, now all I want is a Crow movie with, like, Biocop as the Crow.
Actually, that's the best crossover I can think of.
Just
Bio
that fucking
Crow.
makeup painted on his melted face.
Yes, I love it. All right. There's a guy who is driving the hearse with Lily's body down the street, and Ed shows up and just steals it. That guy comes back in the weirdest way. So Lily's dad is Danny Trejo. We're introduced to him, and he is sad. You know, he just found out his daughter died, and he's talking about how he's the one that said, like, yeah, go ahead, drain this lake, make this casino. And he's like, I thought it would be okay, but they, like, tricked us, and there's all this pollution, and, like, I thought everyone would be fine, and now my daughter's dead. Which, like, it's unrelated, but it's fine. This is the scene where Edward is mad at the crow for bringing him back to life, and he's like, I hate you. And he, like, runs to his room. I think maybe he buries Lily's body under that tree that has their initials in it, but I'm not really sure because I don't think they show it. They, like, allude to things that they don't actually show us a lot. Like, they cut away, and don't know if it was like an editing choice because the movie is like 4 hours long already, but
I don't know why all of these movies are close to 2 hours.
I don't know.
At least all of the sequels for some fucking reason.
This is only like halfway through the movie that this happens, maybe, and I was so confused because Angel and the boys go to Ravenfest, right? And they go there and they start like shooting people and killing people. Meanwhile, Edward has gone to that church where Angel shot that guy that killed his dad or whatever, and he is like, the pastor's wife is still alive, and he's like, hey ma'am, it's okay, like, don't worry, like, we're gonna get out. And she's like, oh, I want to die. And he's like, me too, but we can't die now, not tonight. And I was like, oh my god. And then this is where we find out what happened, okay? Because he sees a news article in, like, at the altar where this guy was just marrying people, and the newspaper article is about how Edward killed their son, who was a football player, they were like at prom or something. The football player was like trying to like assault this girl. I don't know if it was supposed to be Lily or if it was somebody else. But Edward, like, pulled him off the girl and literally, like, beat him to death, and he died. Like, why is this, like, he also would have been a minor. So, like, maybe, like, I don't know. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So then the wife, the pastor's wife, is like, did you think I didn't recognize you? You get out of here. I'm never forgiving you. And I was like, okay. And then he just, like, leaves. Also, the pastor is alive.
She says that, and then he's like, I think your husband's still alive. And she's like, what? And he's like, he's still breathing, and just, like, touches the bullet wound, and then he starts breathing again. And then she's like, oh my god, I forgive you.
I think she said she doesn't forgive
him.
I
know, but she, like, immediately is like, oh my god, this is, like, the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, like, immediately after she, like, threatens to shoot him.
Yeah, it's so stupid. Anyways, that's the really dumb backstory about why whatever.
This whole movie feels like they were trying to make a TV show and then decided to cram like 10 episodes of a TV show into like an hour and 40-something minute movie.
Yeah, I
There's
think
like
so.
so much shit that happens, but it's all like done in like 45 seconds.
Yeah.
That's the Borealis effect.
Yep. So this is where Edward goes to Ravenfest, and he's got more flashbacks. The angel and the boys are wrecking up the place, and um, so I was confused because we still had like part two of the movie left, and they're already having a showdown, and I was like, what could the rest of this movie be about?
I was
The answer
like,
the answer was nothing, but
that's the most sucks is like this part like made the like at like once this whole like next part happens, I was like, okay, I'm kind of in. Where's this gonna go now? And it goes nowhere.
it's bad. So he shows up and he is beating up Famine, and they're basically just like, what the fuck? Like, how is he so strong? What's he doing here? Oh my god. And Tara Reid said, he's the crow, like in the legend.
Yeah,
Thanks,
dummies.
Tara. Then they
Tara
have like
gets
all
it.
this, yeah. They have this like all this small talk between like Angel and Eddie, Edward,
Jimmy Crowington.
Eddie Bird.
Ed Crowington. And for some reason Angel also has super strength and literally just like rocket launches Edward into like a pillar or something. Then he throws a tomahawk at the crow, the actual bird, the crow, and hits it. And then
Extremely cool.
yeah, Edward
Also,
is like,
great aim.
I know, and also nobody had to tell him that the crow was the link to his power. He just did it.
He saw the other movies.
So
He
like
knows.
my
Right.
only assumption with this is that like it's like a thing that they just know from living next to and working with like all of these like Native American people.
I guess so.
Like I don't know,
I-
maybe the crow is popping up like once a year in this town. So everyone's just like, oh yeah, that's why they
It's
recognize
crow
it.
season
Yeah.
again.
That's like what we talked about when we were doing the Crow 2,
Yeah, the one
where
where
we were
it
talking
becomes
about
like so prevalent that like
everyone's
knows.
just like, God, here it comes. I feel like maybe you wouldn't kill people then because like the chances of them coming back being invincible and trying to kill
'cause,
you,
like they show flashbacks or whatever of like whatever funeral that like Edward Furlong shows up and Lily's like, I love you but you can't be here, and it's a bunch of shit about a crow. So I'm wondering if it's just like an idea, like the idea is supposed to be that like this like tale, they are all sort of familiar with this like mythos because of like being in such close quarters with this like Native American tribe.
well, and so that's why it's confusing to me as to who is supposed to be Native American or not. Because like obviously Lily is, and she's the one that like says the thing about the crow in the beginning. And so like some of them seem to know about it and some of them don't, and I don't know. Anyways, he throws a tomahawk and kills the crow.
This is where I was
then-
like, okay, there's still like an hour of this movie left or something.
right,
Maybe
that's
like
what
50
I'm like.
minutes. And I was
what
like,
could
okay,
this-
maybe this is about to get like interesting. Because there's a, like,
No.
well, we'll finish this scene and then I'll.
Okay, so he throws a tomahawk at the crow, and then Edward's like, "Ow, ouchie," and then they shoot Edward a bunch, and he's like bleeding, and then there's like this weird like crow, like totem on the ceiling that falls, and this like sheet falls over all of the rest of the people who are like at this Raven Fest.
I thought it was supposed to
And-
be a raven, not a crow.
What?
They use it pretty interchangeably.
Oh, they
they-
do.
they-
They're
they
just like they're
really
both
do.
blackbirds.
They
No
do,
one
yeah.
knows.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's the crow, but then it's Raven Fest, and so like
And
I
he
mean,
quotes the raven.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, shut up.
they don't know the difference.
Different bird, my
Yeah.
guy.
Jeez. So then
This movie
sheet
rocks. I
falls,
changed my mind.
and they essentially just like shoot up a bunch of the people and kill them. There's like this little boy who like pops out and is like, "Where are my parents?" And Edward like saves the little boy or whatever, and then Angel's like, "It's too quiet here. Let's bounce," and they leave. And I was like, "Huh?"
So, at this point, they're like, the bird's dead. Edward Furlong's been shot by like a fucking machine gun like 40 times. And I
Yeah.
was like, so in my mind, I was like, oh shit, is like Lily gonna come back maybe? and like do like
No,
this twist where I was like, that would be kind of interesting and cool. And instead,
Yeah,
no,
no.
they're just like, no, Edward Furlong's still alive somehow. I'm
He's
like, what
fine.
the fuck?
Yeah, it makes no sense. So Lily's brother shows up and is mad at Edward, and this is like another thing where he's like, "I'm gonna kill you," and he's like, "I want to die. Fucking do it, bro." But then he touches Lily's brother, and it shows him a flashback of how the satanic cult killed them, right? And he's like, "Oh, Lily, wow, oh my god!" And then he's just like, "All right, see ya." Okay, so this whole section here is really confusing. Angel and Tara Reid did this like this like ritual, right, where they took out the heart and they took her eyes. Apparently, you need these like special blue shaman eyes to read this specific text that will allow you to resurrect Lucifer. For some reason, Tara has to be married to the vessel that Satan is being resurrected in. So Angel and Tara are going to go get married at, I don't know what this place is. It's just like a sex work house that Tara used to live in, I guess. Because this is where they show up and talk to Dennis Hopper, who is saying words like shorty and homie, bad attitude. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what.
And he's also like Macy Gray's bodyguard.
Like,
It's just smart.
I just am like so confused, right? So Dennis Hopper.
She's defending him from all the liberals, okay?
Yeah. I like
pretty much.
It's so like it was one of those things where like it's terrible. But I was watching the movie, and it, like at the point where I realized Edward Furlong was still alive, I checked out completely, and I like literally just like minimized the screen on my phone. I was like, I'm just gonna go look at Twitter, and then Dennis Hopper started talking. I was like, I'm back in. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, it was such a fucking like wacky thing to have in this movie. I was like I was very taken aback by it.
If I
also,
get
like
time,
I
I'm gonna like I'll record some of his
Okay.
fucking dialogue. Just put it in the
like,
episode because
it is insane.
It's the best.
Classic El Nino.
Yeah, you love it. Gotta.
Yeah, so Dennis Hopper's name is El Nino in this.
I desperately need to know how much money he made doing this.
I want his
seriously.
coat.
I would bet
fur
any
coat.
amount of money. They were just like, hey, we'll pay for your lunch to come out here for a day and just deliver all this dialogue. He's like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
saw
it's
the
like,
script,
whatever.
loved it. He really connected with it, did it for free. Yeah. He asks Angel if he wants to be Satan, and Angel's like, fuck yeah, I want to be. Like, who doesn't? Then he tells Tara Reid to kiss it, bitch. It's a book. So she does, and then
fucking the worst.
so then he's gonna like perform this marriage service, right? What does this say? Oh, the Cat Girls 1 through 4 are here, and they bathe Angel in order to get him ready for the ceremony. And they've brought a sacrificial virgin who ends up being the guy who was driving the hearse earlier. And he just was waiting for someone special, which, good for you. So I just wrote, what the fuck is Dennis Hopper even saying? I have no idea. He's just saying a bunch of words. Edward Furlong arrives, okay? Outside the church. He slow-mo jump lunges and fights somebody, I'm not sure, who somehow knows that he is not invincible anymore, I guess because he's bleeding a bunch from the gunshot wounds. And then there's like Lily's dad, Lily's brother, the sheriff, and all of their guys show up with a bunch of guns. And like, I'm not really sure. I guess maybe they came because Lily's brother was like, oh, it was actually Angel and his guys that killed Lily, not Edward. Like, let's go. And that's why they're there. But I don't know. They just kind of like stand at the sidelines and like shoot at the church from far away. So that's confusing. And then Dennis Hopper pronounces them devil and his shorty.
Hold on a second.
And then
I was the IMDb. I was looking at the goofs.
Oh,
And one of the
jeez.
errors is this movie constantly references ravens, from the name of the town and the tribe to the casino name to the
Yep.
Ravenfest party to Jimmy outright quoting Edgar Allan Poe in the final scene. Ravens and crows are not the same thing.
No, they're not. Nice try though. Yeah, okay, so they're all outside shooting at Edward and War, who were fighting, but who are now hiding behind a thing together, and that's why I was like really confused about what was going on with them. Dennis Hopper weds them and says, I now pronounce you Devil and his shorty. Tara Reid says, I love you, Lucifer, and then her and Angel kiss. Angel collapses. And Dennis Hopper's like, oh man, we're gonna have to find another vessel
Well,
because
he
like this
collapses
didn't
because
work
she
out.
stabs him in the side.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, she
Well,
like when they kiss, she like stabs him in the side.
oh, she had this like sacrificial dagger bullshit that was going on too, so
And it's
that
like
makes
it's
sense.
more shit where like it's like they keep flip flopping between her not wanting to do this and wanting to do this, and that's like I'd like. There's so many times this movie could have got interesting, like the shit where like maybe Edward Furlong's character dies in the middle of the movie, or like this point where like maybe Tara Reid becomes Satan instead. Like all this shit happens where I'm like, oh, this might get cool, and then they just don't. Like they just sort of like, no, they're still alive.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Getting cool is for losers.
Agreed.
This is where like War decides that he's going to strap a bunch of bombs to him and like run into like the group of local guys, and I don't know, Edward like stops him, I guess, and explodes, but then is fine. Inside, Angel randomly springs up and kisses Tara. And then there's like more visions. And outside, we see that the crow symbol is burned into the ground in fire around like the dead war guy. And I was like, why?
I think
He
you
didn't-
mean the raven symbol.
He didn't, right. And like, Edward didn't even kill him. He exploded himself. So I don't really know that should count as his kill, but it's fine. This is where you know Angel is Satan now, because sometimes when he says words, his voice is really deep and demonic. He'll be like, so we're gonna come against God and, have a sacrifice.
How
I'm
has
like,
no
what
one
the fuck?
cast you in a cartoon yet?
I don't know. I'm so good at so many voices. So he's Satan. Edward comes in and Angel is like, I've got Satan powers, and like blasts him backwards out of the church, like really fucking launches him. And he comes outside singing a song that I don't even know what it was. But Edward's been like impaled by a bunch of like things. I'm not really sure. Angel then plays piano while looking up at Edward, who is like strung up on this cross. Dennis Hopper asks if it's really him, the OG gangster, aka Satan.
Just
And-
incredible.
And he's like, yeah. This is where Angel is like, okay, Tara, like, you made a deal with the devil, and so now you get what you want, and what you wanted was revenge. And so Tara off screen kills Dennis Hopper for, making her do sex work when she didn't want to. Fair.
Also, kill him because he's just a fucking shitty character.
really, honestly, too much of him on screen, if you ask me. So, Angel and Tara leave because they need to have sex in order to finish. Angel is like resurrected as Satan, and they need to have sex so that she can give birth to the Antichrist, I guess. And the spell will be broken at dawn, so they need to get it on. But they need to go to hallowed ground, of course. So they drive off to a cemetery. Lily's dad and brother take Edward from being strung up and are basically just like, Lily's brother is like way into Edward now. He's like, he's the crow. He's from Legend. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that this happened to you. I like love you now. And Lily's dad is kind of like, I don't know, like sus about him. And he's alive.
It's
And
so weird because it's like he shows him that like he's the Crow and like what actually happened, and for some reason like he's just not going to explain that to Danny Trejo. He
yeah,
just constantly be like, "No, you don't understand. He's good." Just be
he
like,
has
"Bro, he's the
powers or
fucking
whatever.
Crow."
Yeah. Well, he was saying that, but then Danny Trejo was just like, I don't really care. Like he even says like
Danny
I
Trejo's
saw the
just got
powers you.
bloodlust.
I mean, yeah. He's like, I saw the powers that you had, and like I still don't really care. Like I don't know who you think you are. And this is when Edward says, "I'm the fairy fucking godfather who's gonna save your fairy fucking town" or something like that. And I was like, oh, that was so bad.
It's
And the delivery's not good. Like who?
his fucking dialogue for the rest of the movie is incredible.
My question was like, how do you deliver that line and not just like lose it
I
and
mean,
be
he's
like, I'm
probably
not saying
done
this.
worse,
I
honestly, in
mean,
like fucking some of the shows and shit he's been in.
I don't know. I don't think I've seen. I personally have not seen worse than this.
I never watched Buffy or Angel, so like I feel like the dialogue in some of those is probably not great because it's also
Well, no,
fucking what's his name.
this was Edward Furlong,
Oh, I thought that was
not
for some reason I
Angel.
remembered fucking,
Eddie Furs.
Yeah.
No. Um. Anyways. Okay. Yeah. He's mad. But he's mad. But even so, he does some kind of ritual that I'm not really sure like what the point of it was. If it was like supposed to be giving him his powers back, or like I don't know. They just like do a ritual after Edward leaves. Angel and Tara Reid are in a cemetery, and he's like, "Okay, let's do it." And she seems like not really into it at that point, right?
But like also
And she's
into,
like,
like it's so fucking strange because like she's also like she's like no, but you have to look at my eyes while we do it.
yeah, she's like, the book says you have to look in my eyes, and he's like not really trying to do that, and she's like insisting. But then Edward shows up, and he's like, oh well, and goes to fight him. And this fight scene is like pretty stupid. They just kind of like throw each other around a little bit, and then I also like there's the scene where they're like driving away from the church to go to the cemetery. Angel is just saying some really crazy shit. I don't even know like what is going on with him. But then he says to Edward, "Killers don't go to heaven, dog." And I was like, huh? Why are you talking like that?
I'm about to get a
and
tattoo
then,
that just says "Quoth the Raven, nevermore, motherfucker."
like, pretty much. And then I don't know. Edward kind of just like pushes Angel down a hill. And then the sun rises, and Tara's like, oh no. And so she gets in her car and is crying blood, and she starts praying to Jesus.
I'm so mad.
Mary Mother in Heaven.
They don't
like,
show her eyes after this. Like, at
No.
least do something.
Right. Like, she just puts on sunglasses because, I don't know, maybe her eyes are
Yeah, I don't know what color her eyes
rotted
are like,
out.
normally. So, like, I don't know if I know they were just covering that they're not blue again. But, like, yeah, just have
I
her
think
like.
her eyes are blue, though.
Are they? Maybe that. I don't know.
think
Either way,
so.
just like show her with like no eyeballs now or some shit.
No, they couldn't give that to us.
I'm looking at the quotes on IMDb, and all of this just looks like it would be in a very bad like Midwest emo intro. Like all the quotes of this movie, fucking terrible.
So, this is when Angel relives all, like, his, like, quote unquote, his, like, horseman boys' deaths.
Which also
And-
incorrect. The Four Horsemen were sent to, like, save Earth, weren't they? Or, like, to stop Satan?
They
so
were.
the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, I feel like they bring the apocalypse.
They're like harbingers.
I thought, weren't they,
Yeah.
like, something, but, like, let me see. Luke mentions that God sent one of his angels to stop Satan from unleashing the Four Horsemen on Earth. In the Bible, the Four Horsemen in the Apocalypse are actually unleashed by God as the final judgment of mankind. So that's also incorrect in the movie.
Well, so
This is like a movie literally written as like I'm now more convinced that like Chat GPT wrote this movie somehow in 2003. Like it's all shit where I feel like somebody just like was just like, I don't know, I want to reference this thing. I'm not going to do any research on if it's the correct way to reference it or not.
Pretty much. So yeah, he relives their deaths, in which, like I said, one of them dies in some way that I don't even remember what it was now, but we saw it. The deaths are like, they're just like not, they just are nothing. Like
Yeah,
it,
it's so
again, I
boring
don't feel
compared
like
to like
Edward,
the other sequels.
except for Angel, I don't really feel like he got his vengeance that well. I mean, but like again, he kind of didn't really,
Well,
he wasn't really into
like,
it, so it's
the
fair.
thing the other movies did that made like at least the revenge interesting was like give like these bad guys like at least a somewhat interesting death. And in this, the only one you really get that's like remotely, and I won't even say it's interesting or good, is like, but it's like remotely like visually interesting is the dude with the fucking bug zapper. Like
Yeah.
even David Borealis is just like flipped onto a fucking like spike or some shit.
Yeah, and I also feel like the other people were like not targeted more, but they were murdered because like they saw a murder, they saw somebody doing embezzling, cops embezzling or whatever. This was just like it didn't really have anything to do with them other than like them personally. They're like, we need you for this ritual. We're just gonna like kill you or whatever. And so I feel like, you know, the other crows, whenever they're like going through their ranks and like killing people, they're like, hey, this is fucked up what you did. Like, think about it. And in this one, Edward's like not interested at all. He's just like, well, I'm here. What's up? I guess I need to kill you so I can like die. You know what I mean? Like it's just like his this could be any movie. This could be, you know, aside from the fact that he came back from the dead for the crow or whatever, it's like not whatever.
If I
I
had
don't know.
not read that like this was based off like an actual Crow comic and was like at least like a bunch of the stuff about like the tribe and like stuff like that was not straight from the book, I would have assumed this was like it was like a Hellraiser sequel scenario where it was like a completely different movie that they just like ported in like the Cenobites.
Yeah.
Because like all like
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
gonna tell like all of the other Crow movies, the thing that like kind of works for them is that it's like it's not like big stakes. Like it is for like the characters, but in the general world, it's like pretty low stakes. It's just like a dude getting revenge on like these sort of like low level like whatever people that like murdered him and his partner. And in this, it's like the Crow is like essentially stopping like the apocalypse from happening,
right. But
also
that's
barely
like not
doing
even
it.
barely doing it, and also he's like that's not even what he's trying to do. That's just like a consequence as
Yeah,
like
right.
because of what's happening. Like he doesn't give a shit. Anyways, so
Yeah, he
this
wants to
is the
die.
end,
I don't
right?
know if
So
anyone knows. The Crow wants to die
yeah,
real bad.
he doesn't want to live. If he would prefer to not
Just
live.
kill the Crow. Get it over with.
Like he should. Well, okay, but that's the thing too. They don't ever explain like why he's fine after getting shot a bunch. Like he goes on to fight two whole people.
I think the whatever's happening with the remake of the first Crow that's happening with Bill Skarsgård, they should be forced if they do sequels that they have to do all three of the sequels as well. Like you have to do those movies as remakes now too, because I want to see them get to this one and have to like remake this movie.
I think that this movie is probably the reason they won't do that.
No, they should. That should be that should be the rule with remakes. And if
Law.
you do if you do like, you know, the Friday the 13th remake, if you made sequels for that, you have to remake the movies in order.
I agree, because then
I
think we would get a lot less shitty remakes because they would just be like, "Nah, we're not."
I would be
that.
fully on board to get to like, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street 6, just to see like how that remake happens. Jason Goes to Hell, directed by like fucking God damn it, what's his name just left
Robert
me.
Eggers.
No, who's the guy that does all the actual cool segments in VHS? All the like Japanese ones, I think.
Oh,
Timo?
Timo
Yeah,
Tchajanto.
make him.
Um,
Nightmare on Elm Street 6 remake.
Is he Filipino?
Is he? Did he do the cult segment?
Did
was
he
it
do the
someone
cult
else?
segment? I think he did.
I thought so, yeah. I guess that's why I always just think like Japanese, because that one felt very like it felt like a very much like a Japanese movie in that segment. But I think the only one other one I can think of is the one where you see everything from the view of like the fucking he's turned people into like weird cyborgs.
Indonesian.
Oh, okay.
Indonesian.
Cool.
Yeah, the Wolfenstein one,
Yeah.
basically, that he did in what was it, 85? Let Timo do everything, to be honest.
I want to say like that's the like I always say it on here all the time, but like if you're gonna do remakes, give them to like the strangest fucking person possible to remake them.
Yes.
He would make a
You
fucking
don't-
baffling Nightmare on Elm Street. It would rock.
Yeah.
Some reason Freddy's
Okay.
like a cyborg.
I mean, he's basically already done Evil Dead.
What movie is that? Because I'm in.
May the Devil Take You.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that. Add that to the watch list.
Yeah, it and the sequel both rock. Basically just Indonesian Evil Dead. Highly recommended.
100% in. All I've really seen from him is the VHS stuff, and like they're like always the only segments I'm like, this rocks.
Both of those, and then The Night Comes for Us, which is just more of an action movie, but it kicks insane amounts of ass.
Oh yeah, I'm in. All right, let's finish.
This is a Timo Stan podcast now.
Yeah, I feel like anytime I ever talk about like when the VHS movies come out on this podcast, I'm always like, this is the only good one I liked. It's always like the one that he's directed. So at least after like the first maybe 2 movies or whatever. All right, Kate.
Okay.
He's like, shut the fuck up.
Well, I haven't seen VHS. I haven't seen anything you're talking about, so
You would probably enjoy most of them just based on your you like found footage and
yeah, and
They're fun. They're all fun, at least.
Aren't they all only on Shudder though?
I don't think so.
They've been scattered across a bunch.
Two
Latest ones were Shudder exclusives.
Number
which...
2 is I think like my favorite one, and it's on Hulu right
Yeah.
now.
Okay, I'm gonna watch whatever. I was under the impression they were all on Shudder for some reason, which I do not have anymore. So I just never.
At bare minimum, you should watch 2 solely because I think you would love the one that we were just talking about. That's like a cult or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
fucking pretty incredible.
All right,
Rips.
I'll add it to my list. Okay, so Edward, Angel relives all of those guys dying for whatever reason. Edward just flips him over onto a tree and impales him, and then says that a passage about eating your arm and it being bitter. And
when he's talking about the thing about eating your heart, and I was like, this is fucking strange.
And I liked it because it was bitter. And then he slits his throat, I guess, off screen, kind of. Lily's brother shows up. Oh, okay. So Lily's brother and dad show up and find Tara Reid, and Lily's dad, Danny Trejo, is about to shoot her, but the brother stops him and arrests her instead. Then Edward falls asleep in the hearse and dreams that he is reunited with Lily, where he proposes to her, and then they make out. That's the end.
This is fucking the worst movie.
Yeah, I have to say, I think this is
Also,
the second best one.
They make out for so fucking long at the end of this movie. I literally, I got to the end, and, I hit fast forward, 4 times. So at least it's, at least a fucking minute long of them just, making
kissing
out before the credits. Because I was like, I'm not watching this for all this. And it's, a close-up that zooms out, high past so you can see, the full tree and shit. And I was like,
up into the
come
tree.
on.
Yeah.
Just end this fucking movie already.
Not great. I think for me, it goes The Crow, Salvation, to this one.
Mine's just straight up in order. 1, 2, 3, 4. But in reverse order. 4 being the best. Backwards.
1, 4, 2, 3.
1, 4, 2, 3. You thought this was better than the second one?
Absolutely. It had Dennis Hopper in it.
Yeah, Dennis Hopper fucking should have got an Oscar that year.
I now pronounce you Shorty and the Devil. It's doing a lot of heavy lifting.
It was pretty good. Okay, we'll admit that.
Or just the way he says "Cara Mia."
Cara Mia, Cara Mia. Angel does it too, and I was like, bro, please.
I had so much faith that this was gonna be fucking good, just based on like the cast, and I was like, it can't be worse than Salvation. And like, I think like story wise, I would put this above Salvation, like the general idea of the story. But I think the
shenanigans.
Salvation's too like true crimey for me, and I hated it.
But it had a straight story. This was just like
what I'm saying is
gobbledygook.
the idea behind this movie, I'm on board with. Like, I think you could take this idea and have a good director make a good movie out of this story. But like the fucking way it's like the dialogue just feels like someone wrote a bunch of one-liners that make no sense for anybody.
Yeah.
And it's just people like deliver like the whole fucking deviled egg, deviled fucking ham and devil's food cake thing. I was like, what is happening? Did somebody just like Google foods with the
devil food?
That is the worst combination of food I can imagine anyone eating. Like even taking the peyote out of it, I'm just like, come on.
Yeah. So these movies do actually, the rating is in order for Letterboxd. The Crow has a 3.7, City of Angels has a 2.3, Salvation has a 2.2, and Wicked Prayer has a 1.5.
I mean, that's generally how a lot of, series of movies go. There's very few, I think, where like they somewhere after the first one like goes up.
44 people think that this is a 5-star movie.
Yeah, they were 44. All in the cast. Dennis Hopper's Letterboxd is probably like, yeah, this is my best performance.
Yeah.
Brutal. What a fucking bad franchise.
Yeah, we're done.
Absolutely.
We are done.
I at some point
now on to Children of the Corn.
Well, yeah. I think
a franchise that's worse and has way more movies.
They'll all be bangers, I think.
At least 3's good.
Yeah. 3 rips. And 1 is decent.
Yeah, 1's fine.
Yeah, I like 1.
We're at least gonna do some shark movies in between. I feel like what's gonna happen is we're gonna get like
Sharks of the Corn.
We're gonna get like
again.
4 movies into Children of the Corn and be like, we're taking a break.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, Katie, did you look up any news?
I didn't really see anything.
Let's see.
It's just like, this was canceled. This was canceled.
Super stoked about Five Nights at Freddy from Blumhouse.
I don't even know what. No, I don't even know what that is.
It's just gonna be like a Willy's Wonder. I think Willy's Wonderland was originally supposed to be a Five Nights at Freddy movie that like got changed because then Blumhouse got the rights to it instead or something.
Same with the what's the other killer robot animal band movie?
Oh, Banana Splits.
The Banana Splits.
Yeah. Very weird.
Arnold,
I think we have enough
apparently,
of that.
Arnold Schwarzenegger has given an update on his Conan the Barbarian sequel. Maybe happening.
Come on, Arnold. Give it to me.
Old fucking Conan would be fucking sick.
I want it.
Unsurprisingly, early test screenings of the Blumhouse Exorcist movie are extremely bad. And that it's too long and not scary.
Shocker.
Subspecies 5, Blood Rise, coming exclusively to Screambox.
Oh shit!
I didn't see that.
I'll watch that.
I never watched any of the other ones.
I watched all of them, and they're not good, but they're like.
There are worse things to spend an hour and a half on.
I think the problem with most of them is they're like I really like that they're a little more like romantic drama as opposed to like horror, I guess.
Yeah.
But like they start to drag as you watch them in a row, because it's like the same shit for like 4 movies straight. I'll watch it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I can't remember his last name now. I know it's the guy that did TerraVision. But, like, at least his special effects always look really good, so I'm kind of interested to see what, like, a 2023 movie from him is going to look like, especially from knowing what Full Moon's fucking catalog has been for the last, like, 15 years. Katie, are you ready for Michael Bay's true crime docuseries?
No, why?
Michael Bay teaming up with Investigation Discovery to create terrifying true crime
no.
docuseries.
That's not necessary.
You're gonna watch it though.
Are you ready for Mark Polonia's Cocaine Shark?
Oh, yeah, that got announced like literally like the week fucking Cocaine Bear came out. That and like there's like a Meth Gator movie I think Asylum's doing. Like,
Yeah.
Ugh.
If that shit would have come out like literally 2 weeks after Cocaine Bear, they would have been like huge.
Would have done gangbusters.
Nobody gives a fuck now.
The effects pictures that they're showing look pretty incredible.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We will probably watch at least one of those for at least Meth Gator. I don't know if I want to watch Mark Polonia's fucking shark movie.
Drug animal month.
Apparently.
Oh, good idea.
There's an Alien vs. Predator anime series that is complete, and Disney has no plans of releasing it because they're the fucking dumbest.
Good.
Wow.
Like, I just like if it's already complete, why would you not? Like, it's the same thing they have with that Batgirl movie. I'm like, just put it on your streaming service. What's the point of having it? It's so fucking dumb.
I don't know. Didn't Disney just buy something else?
I don't know.
Probably.
Huge, like Hulu
Florida.
or something?
No, Disney and Hulu. Disney always owned Hulu. Like,
yeah, Disney's had Hulu for
I think
a
like
while.
Disney and like someone else, like NBC or something, like teamed up to like create Hulu or some shit, if I remember correctly. Because that's where like a bunch of like Marvel stuff went. Like was that like around the time? I don't know. There was like some weird deals where like Disney and Fox's stuff was all like a bunch of that shit was on Hulu, and then they just kind of all merged together on Disney Plus when Disney bought Fox. It's like I don't know. This is a bunch of weird shit with. That's all like that was the thing. Like so. There was some lady like on TikTok, I guess, that made a TikTok that was like, "Y'all, did you know Fox owns Tubi? We can't watch this anymore."
Yeah.
It's like, do you think any streaming service is owned by good people?
Right?
Like, do you think
like,
Netflix or Amazon Prime are like fucking cool leftists, like run by like
At least Tubi is
anti-fascists and
free.
shit? And yeah, it was a bunch of people who were like, "That's cool. I'm poor and I can watch stuff for free on Tubi." So, shut up.
Like you're not giving them money.
Well, I mean, like in the terms that like the ad
ad
money
but-
is, but it's also like
Yeah, but it's not paying for a subscription.
no streaming service that has these kind of like movies are owned by like good companies, and also
No.
the companies that like every company's owned by like 6 fucking companies at this point anyway. So
Yeah.
there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. So just do your
Nope.
best. All right. What
Like watch Tubi, but don't watch Fox, right? Like, like
that's what I do.
be smart.
Katie, what'd you watch this week?
Nothing.
All right. Kit, what'd you watch this week?
I have been blazing a trail through MTV original series Catfish.
Oh my gosh.
Caitlin did that like a year or 2 ago, maybe. And I would
Oh my
I would
God.
catch like random episodes, and I was like, "This show is insane."
It's ridiculous. There's like 3 episodes in a row that were in Grapevine, Texas, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
That was like back when they didn't have money to travel, so they had to like capitalize on
Well-
like if they're traveling, it has to be like
to
we
one
better-
place
we-
and
we
knock
gotta
out a
just-
bunch.
Yeah,
I will say, like,
yeah.
90 Day Fiance, I think does that a little bit too, or like, especially now, like they have like a show now that's just called like Love in Paradise, where it's like every couple is in like, you know, the Dominican Republic or like
Yeah.
you know what, some like one specific place in the whole season. Every couple's in like that place now, or like you can tell like when like they're shooting in like Nigeria that they're probably shooting like 5 couples at a time for like different seasons.
Yeah. I loved OG Catfish. Like I watched the documentary that Neve put out about like when he got catfish that like started it all, like when it came out, and then when the show started airing, we were like actively watching it. Like we'd watch the new episodes as they came out. And the first like the very first time, like the first seasons are actually just like legit entertaining, and then it gets to the point where like catfish is popular, so people catfish people to be on catfish, and then that's where it's like, okay, like this is too popular now.
I've finally reached the quarantine episodes.
Yeah, those are
Oh,
hard.
no.
It's a lot.
There's like
I
I feel like any like reality show like that, like 90 Day Fiance hit the same point where like there's a clear cut where you could tell it's like couples or like people, like every season there's at least like one couple after the first couple seasons you're like, this feels like you just tried to get on the show. But then it hit a point where you're just like, these are all people that are like desperate to be TikTok stars that just decided to come on the show because there's like such a rabid fan base for it. And I feel like I've seen maybe total like 20-ish episodes of Catfish. But it's been like spread out, right? Like I could tell, I'm like, okay, this early couple seasons feel like maybe these were like legit kids that like got like, you know, some like 22-year-old that got caught catfishing somebody or whatever, till like I'm like, oh, you just want to be on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like for me too, like I rewatched it a couple of years ago maybe, and then once it gets to the point where like Max leaves, I'm like no longer like I don't care about any of his guests.
Sucks about Max.
Like one season it's like Machine Gun Kelly, and I'm just like absolutely not, no thank you.
Yeah, I did not like I don't remember her name now, the co-host towards like the end.
Cammy.
Yeah, like
yeah, she's okay.
But I also was not invested to begin with, so. Yeah,
it's been a lot of that, and then I watched Infernal Affairs the other day, which fucking rips. A lot of folks might know it better as the movie that Scorsese remade as The Departed.
Oh, okay.
And it's fucking sick as hell, and Criterion has the 2 sequels for it, and I cannot wait to watch those.
I don't think I knew The Departed was like sort of a remake or whatever.
So I didn't realize that it was like a remake. I always thought it was like inspired by, but watching Infernal Affairs, it's like, oh no, there are like scene for scene moments that are in The Departed, so it's just like kind of an expanded remake where it fleshes out a bit more stuff.
Gotcha.
But, yeah, it's really good.
Let's see. I watched a pilot for Adult Swim that Tim and Eric did with Neil Hamburger called The New Big Ball with Neil Hamburger. There was going to be like this weird game show that was very bad, did not get picked up. I rewatched Us first time in like a while. It still rocks. And then pretty much most of the week at work I just been letting this 90s or not this 90s but just all like horror SOV playlist on YouTube play. So it's a lot of bad stuff. Zombie 90 Extreme Pestilence was pretty fun. Like this
Pestilence.
Yeah. This like 1991 zombie SOV movie where it's just like super gory. It kind of rocks. A Night to Dismember from 1983 by Doris Wishman was pretty good. Just a super low budget like axe murderer slasher movie. I rewatched Sledgehammer from 1983.
Banger.
It rocks. I watched a movie called The Refrigerator from 1991 about a killer refrigerator that was surprisingly bad.
I thought you were gonna say surprisingly good,
No.
and I was like, oh.
I mean, kill a refrigerator, good idea. This movie was just real boring. The Resurrection of Michael Myers was this Swedish like fan film in like 2 parts about Michael Myers coming back and for some reason fighting the zombie from Kung Fu Zombie. And it fucking rocks. It was like,
Hell yeah.
it's the best Halloween sequel outside of 3. I'm trying to see if any of the rest of these were. Oh, Witch Doctor: The Living Dead, Nigerian SOV movie from 1986 that I watched with no English subtitles, so I don't know what anyone was saying, but it ruled. The witch doctor kept turning into a goat, and it would just be this like absolute like the shittiest 1980s like special effect. It rocked. 100% worth checking out. Then I watched something for a bonus episode Katie and I are doing, and then On Cinema at the Cinema released a new video of this, just a thing that like ties into a universe called the VFA Expert Hollywood Tour. That's like a 30-something minute thing of Greg Turkington driving around in a roofless van giving people tours of Hollywood. But like, for some reason, all he talks about is like the Blondie movies from the 30s, and it's just showing people like a house. It's like that one of these movies was shot in instead of like actual like Hollywood shit. It rocks. Now rewatched Mr. America, which also rocks. I think that's it. I finished Tom Goes to the Mayor, which is a banger. Contemplating starting Tim and Eric, but I really did not like Tim and Eric. But I might give it a. I haven't seen any of it since it originally aired. I'd be curious to see if like any of that changes for me now.
Yeah, hard to know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty polarizing.
I mean, it's quote unquote free with HBO or Max now, as it's apparently called.
Old Max.
All right, Katie, shout out.
Oh, well, we did finish Better Call Saul, and so that's just my shout out. I would say I was very lukewarm on Breaking Bad. It's very whatever. Better Call Saul is amazing, so I recommend
That's
that.
the thing, is I really want to watch Better Call Saul, but I was like, I can't watch all of Breaking Bad to get to it.
I don't think you have to, like, it's kind of one of those things where whichever one you watch first gives context to the other. So, like, you can watch it in the order we did, where we watched Breaking Bad, then this, and you know things from Breaking Bad that give you context for Better Call Saul. But then there's also, like, most of it is just its own show leading up to Breaking Bad. So it's like, I don't know. There's, like, it helps to know some of the characters' backstory because there's characters in both, but like I don't think you need to watch Breaking Bad to appreciate Better Call Saul. That's my opinion.
I might get to it at some point.
Yeah.
All right, Kit, what's your shout out?
Negative shout out, Sleep Token. I'm so fucking tired of hearing about them. They're dog shit, and I hope they stop being a band.
I constantly see like metal Twitter talk about them, and I'm like, I know I don't need to check this out.
They've just popped up out of nowhere overnight, like along with Spirit Box, and it's just fucking awful, and I don't understand. I feel so out of touch. I feel like an old man.
I feel like any band that like metal Twitter like latches onto either becomes like one of those bands that's just like a meme band that people like, or it's a band that everyone is like hyped on for like 3 months and then never talks about again.
It's crazy. I saw a guy that had a really awful Alien opinion that I muted was like way big into them, and I was like, all right, justified. I'm on the right side of history here.
Is it worse of an opinion as saying that Resurrection's the best one?
They had Aliens as the worst one in the ranking.
I feel like I see that periodically where people are just like, I don't like the action movie aspect of it, and I'm like, okay, come on.
Return your eyeballs, please.
My shout out is sort of like last week's. I guess sort of like Def Club again. I saw Def Club last night open for Greg Puciato. They were incredible. That whole show was good. Greg's set list was kind of a bummer because I wanted to hear a bunch of songs he did not play because he played most of the first album, and I was like, come on, bro. And also, there was like a solid hour between him and Def Club playing.
Ew.
Like, I was texting Katie probably right before she went to bed. Like, I don't think he came on until like 11:20 because
Yeah,
God
they
damn.
filled the room with like sun levels of smoke, of like fog,
Yeah.
and then had like gear issues before they went to play. And so there was like a solid hour where they were trying to like fix gear, but like in a room that no one could see anything in. So like it would be one of those things where like you'd see it and like they would play like a sample and like you'd see somebody walk out and like give a thumbs up like everything's ready to go, and then someone would walk out and start like fiddling with something, and then someone else would come out, come help him like fucking like mess with this gear, and then they'd walk away, and then one other person would come out and come like fuck with the gear. And I was like, come on. Like, you're killing me. But yeah, go listen to like almost any band Justin Pearson's involved in. They're all good. Def Club, very good. Go see them live. Singer for Hers came out and they did a Nirvana cover, and then she jumped into the drum set and fell backstage. And it was like mid set, so they had to like fix everything. It wasn't even like the last song. But like the way the venue was set up, like she jumped through the drum set and like hit the ground and then like rolled behind the curtain backstage. I was like, that rocks.
That fucking
And like
rules.
literally 20 seconds later, she was like, I could see her in like the corner at the other side of the stage, like filming the rest of the set. All right, Kit, did you pick a movie for next week?
Nope. I forgot next week was my week.
I don't know. I mean, like, you could literally just pick a shark movie, then you could pick a different, like, one for the week after or whatever. Let's see. Let's see what shark movies are currently streaming.
Yeah, I just opened up Tubi.
I go to Letterboxd. I just like, well, like, there's like this massive shark exploitation list, but you can like, sort it by like what's streaming on the services you follow.
Oh, okay.
Unsurprisingly, looks like it's a lot of bad shark movies. Doll Shark. Oh, Mark Polonia. Never mind.
Boo.
Why are they all fucking Mark Polonia? I'm assuming Megalodon is an Asylum ripoff of The Meg. Oh, it's a Sci-Fi Channel
Probably.
ripoff of The Meg. Alright, here. I'll give you all a choice between 3 movies. So we got Land Shark, Atomic Shark. We have not done Land Shark yet.
How do you even know?
Because I have a list on Letterboxd.
Okay, Land Shark, Atomic Shark.
Land Shark, Atomic Shark, or Dam Sharks. Vicious sharks
Atomic
use
Shark.
human bodies to build a dam.
Oh.
So, I mean, I'm down with Atomic Shark.
Sure.
Well, let's see. There's apparently 2 movies called Atomic Shark. So there's...
What the fuck?
Let's see. Hold on, I'm trying to see if this is... There's one that's on Sci-Fi, and there's one on Tubi. It's called, like... We'll do the one on Tubi. It's either called Saltwater Atomic Shark or just Atomic Shark, but it's 2016, directed by Griff First.
Great.
The one I clicked on is also 2016, but it's directed by A.B. Stone.
A.B. Stone. What's the description say?
When a lifeguard catches wind of a dangerous anomaly off the coast of San Diego, she tasks a crew to assist her in saving it from destruction.
This is the one on on Letterboxd.
Jeff Fahey.
Yeah, that's
and David Faustino.
It's Griff First. It's like a group of lifeguards attempt to kill an atomic shark that is terrorizing the coast of San Diego. Yeah, we'll do that.
I mean, they're probably the same movie, but if not,
this also has David Faustino on Letterboxd too. It might be one of those ones where it's like Letterboxd doesn't do the aliases when people direct movies. So like Joe D'Amato and a bunch of Italian directors will like have a shit ton of movies directed under aliases, but they're all just like under one, like the same person. So maybe it's a thing where like Griff first had to do it as like an alias.
Yeah.
Like David Faustino, I'm in. Talk about Married with Children the whole time. All right, we're doing Atomic Shark next week on the tubes.
Post-apocalyptic commando shark again.
Yeah.
Banger.
All right. If you would like to support us, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/IHopeYouSufferPodcast. Katie and I are going to record an episode on the 2016. I think it was 15. Fantastic Four movie that everyone hates. And I think I have an idea for the bonus episode. I'm picking 3 movies for. So.
Wait, you got chosen?
Yeah, fuck yeah, I did.
That's fucked up.
1 or 2 people love me more than both of you.
Well, it's fucked up, whoever you
I
are.
think both. Like, I think
one was you.
They got tired of my oddly specific selection.
Well, no. So
Cowards.
it was one of those things where like I think 5 people could vote, but only like 4 did, and it was literally a 3-way tie that one person had to break a vote, like break the tie. So it just ended up being me.
Wow, I see how it is.
Cowards.
Yeah, it was like literally. I was like, God damn it! Like, how is this gonna be a 3-way tie? I got an idea that I think of movies that'll please everybody. I'm not picking like Dick Shark and fucking shit like that. I'm picking like good movies. You can buy merch at our store Frontier Shop. You can leave us a rating and review on iTunes and Spotify. Leave us a review telling us your favorite David or Dennis Hopper line from this movie.
Ugh.
I'm sure I now pronounce you Shorty and Satan or whatever the fuck it was. You can follow us on Instagram at IHopeYouSufferPodcast. Follow Kit at Hidden Kitstery and Kitrification of Blood. Go tweet a Kit. Tell him how much you love Sleep Token. You can follow Katie at WerewolfFace and join Katie's Patreon at patreon.com/WerewolfFace. You can listen to my other podcast, Nate and Kate Movie Club. I gotta believe Atomic Shark's gonna be better than this movie.
100%. There's a shark.
Yeah, and it's atomic. How could you go wrong with those 2 words combined?
We'll find out, I'm sure.
Yeah. Alright. I hope you are
Crow.
the motherfucking fairy
godfather
to something, your fucking fairy tales. I don't remember what it was.
The Raven.
Yeah, quote the Raven, never more, motherfucker.